As you guys may or may not know, I am getting plastic surgery and I'm so excited. But I am coming here today to give some tips on what you should be asking your plastic surgeon before choosing them for the big procedure. This girl a mess, y'all. Hi guys, welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been around here a while. I am Kendra. This is Kendra Creates. This is my space where I share my life with you guys. I also talk about random things on the internet and beyond. So if that stuff sounds good to you, then make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Okay guys, so as you guys know, I'm going to get plastic surgery. By the time you guys see this, I think that I will be like getting into surgery. But I want to get straight into this. I don't want to waste any time. I know you guys are here for the helpful information, the questions you should be asking a possible surgeon. And with those questions, you can kind of narrow them down. As far as who you want to go with, because these things are so very important for your health and your life and how you're going to look. And also, it's a red flag because I'm referring kind of like to medical tourism type stuff. If you cannot choose your surgeon or you don't know who your surgeon is going to be or whatever, because you can't research them. And there is a popular place in Mexico that has that model, and it's weird AF. If you want to know who, as below. But yeah, I got the tea. I got all the tea. Okay. Oh, and I wanted to also point out that in the notes below the video, there are places where you can check anesthesiologist and surgeon certifications in Mexico if you plan on getting surgery in Mexico. And also, I'm going to update my notes with additional information that you guys may find useful. And that's going to be a little bit down the road after I have come back from surgery. But anyways, let's get into this. And these are 10 things, not in any particular order, but 10 important things, I would say. All right, so the first thing that you should know is your doctor's experience. How many years experience do they have, and what particular area do they have experience with? It's so very important to find an experienced professional who will be operating on you. They should have experience in the area in which you want surgery on. If they are a body doctor, then you probably don't want them touching your face, and vice versa. And also, one thing that's very important for me is I want someone who takes extreme weight loss patients, because everyone does not specialize in that. Everyone is not comfortable with that, and everyone cannot provide, good results. And I've seen it. I've seen not good looking stuff going on for people that have lost a large amount of weight. So your doctor should know their limitations and what they can provide you. And I did a little bit of a TikTok on that because I had a consultation with a doctor that was not, I don't think, very confident with taking on major weight loss patients. I'm going to insert it right here for your viewing pleasure. I send in my photos, and usually you'll send in your photos to their coordinator. Their coordinator will give it to the doctors. The doctors will review it, and they'll give their recommendations, specifications, or whatever. So they hit me up shortly, like a couple of hours later, and they told me that they could not do work on me. They said that they needed to do an in-person consultation on me because of my extreme weight loss. And they said that they only do extreme weight loss patients maybe about once or twice a month because it takes them so long. So they are like booked on those types of patients for a couple of months down the road. And I thank the coordinator for her honesty and her time. And I appreciated that so much. And they gained so much more respect from me because they were honest with their limitations. And that's what you want from a doctor. You should also check the board certifications of your plastic surgeon. This will ensure that they've gone through specified training for plastic surgery. So it's kind of like having a reputation in the field, having the education, the training, the experience to get that seal of approval. And I will continue to refer to Mexico because that is where I'm getting my surgery at. But I am sure that these, board certifications are probably in any country. I know that they exist here in the United States. There are 3 boards in Mexico in which a plastic surgeon can be certified through. I've listed in the notes below how you can check the certifications of a plastic surgeon in Mexico. So if a surgeon cannot give you that information, it's just a number. If they cannot give you that information or they're unwilling to, you need to run. It's a red flag. What are they hiding? Like, why wouldn't they want to give you that information? Or if you don't know their number and you're just kind of like, doing some preliminary um, information, like some preliminary investigations, research, you can put their name in. But there are a lot of common names. So you might come up with like not so good results if, there's a Dr. Juan Ruiz or something like that. 2 very common first and last names. That was just an example. There are a lot of doctors, unfortunately, who are posing as plastic surgeons. They may have surgery in other areas, such as general surgery, and they are not equipped to handle cases of plastic surgery, meaning that you may not get the results that you want. You may not be snatched. You may not have cute incision lines. You may not get what you are desiring. And it's unfortunate that they have so much confidence and they feel like they can do these things and they really aren't certified to do them. Yes, they may be a doctor. Yes, they may have went to medical school. Yes, they may have even done surgeries. But being a board certified plastic surgeon is a whole nother thing. Okay? I was even looking at some special on YouTube and they were talking about how plastic surgeons or plastic surgeons in Australia would go to like weekends or hour-long training to do plastic surgery. And it was just wild to me. Bananas. You also want to know what kind of results that you are going to get, like hear it from the horse's mouth, but also look and see what they're doing to people, to patients. Of course, they're going to put the best pictures and photos and videos or whatever on their social media or on their websites, but start some digging, start some investigation. Look into surgery groups. I think I'm going to start linking the 2 surgery groups that I've used for Mexico within the notes of my plastic surgery videos because they have been invaluable. Women get on there and they share their real raw experiences. And you can kind of see what doctors are doing people dirty because the names will continue to come up and continue to come up. And you can go in the search bar and you can type in a surgeon's name. I would just be careful with groups that are specifically for that surgeon. And I will say because a lot of them are ran by the surgeon or they're ran by the coordinator, someone affiliated with the surgeon. So they are going to be biased. They're only going to post the good things. People often get kicked out if they ask hard or tough questions or if they do have complications or they do have like a sad story or they do have, questions that people want to kind of shy away from. And that is where ethics come into play. Is this place ethical? Is this surgeon ethical? If they're hiding, the messed up results, if they're hiding the people who do get complications, if they're hiding deaths. And we're going to talk about that too. So don't worry. Let's talk about price. We need to know how much we're paying for the surgery. Definitely, for sure. And the surgery pricing is like this. You have some very, very cheap ones and you have some very, very expensive ones. You probably want to be somewhere in the center. I know they say you get what you pay for, and most of the time that rings true, but sometimes you can find some gems that are a little bit less expensive. But of course, do your due diligence and do not just focus on price alone. A lot of times the price is inflated because they're in certain areas. I will give you an example. Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills doctors, their prices are just inflated because of the name Beverly Hills, the zip code, the wealth that's there. I can tell you that for sure because I've seen some results from Beverly Hills and I was not impressed. Not impressed at all. Just like I've seen some lesser expensive surgeons, aka Miami, and they look good. So you just have to continue to do your due diligence. Don't choose the cheapest one. Or, I mean, hey, if the cheapest one is awesome, they've answered all your questions, they're board certified, the results look great, the safety measures in place are excellent, like, and you feel safe and comfortable, I mean, who am I to say don't go with them? Price is a major factor. That is the reason why I'm going to Mexico, because I literally have to have my whole entire body done. And all of these surgeries could be very expensive if I got them done all here in the United States, but I am not. I'm going to Mexico because it's cheaper and amongst other reasons too. And if you have not checked out my What to Expect, check that video out because I talk about like why I decided to go to Mexico beyond the pricing situation. So price is very important, but do not let that be your only factor. It might be your determining factor, but do not let that be your only factor. So just be careful with people advertising really, really, really cheap rates. Be careful with that. Okay? I want everybody to make it out of surgery alive and safe overall in general with excellent results. You want to know who is doing your anesthesiology. Okay? You want to find out who your anesthesiologist is, and I have information linked below on checking out the certification of an anesthesiologist in Mexico. I'm covering all bases, y'all. I am not playing around, okay? You want to know who's doing it. Once again, if they can't provide that information, if they don't want to provide that information, if they're unwilling to, for whatever reason, go on to another doctor. I'm so serious because this is your health, this is your life, this is your safety. Okay? If they can't, when I asked, it was so funny. When I asked my coordinator, she was like, hold on, let me see. And she has been wonderful. I'm gonna disclose who I went to after I had my surgery and everything, but she got on it. She got me a copy. She told me the anesthesiologist's name. She got me a copy of her licensure with her photo on there. And she gave me the number. She gave me all this information. I had already knew the website I could look her up with or whatever. So it wasn't a big deal. But she was like, I'm just giving you everything so that you know. And some things that I requested from her were like only in Spanish. And she was like, I'm sorry, I can't translate it for you. And she was just so nice about providing me so much information that I asked for. And I was like, no problem. I can do translation myself, like, you know? So find out who that person is. They will be putting you to sleep. Your life will literally be in their hands. They need to be safe. They need to know what they're doing. right? And the reason why I was so dead set on anesthesiologist, I'm going to Tijuana, Mexico, but there's also a city in Matamoros, Mexico, that has been known for like a lot of plastic surgery as well. Over the last year, there have been many, many deaths. And it was all because of, to be honest with you, I don't know the full story. I didn't want to research it. I was like, I'm not going there. Like, oof, I'm staying away from that. It just gave me chills. And it was just, and I pray for all those affected, rest in peace to all of them and condolences to their families. It was just so sad for me. I didn't even want to know anything about it. But generally speaking, it was something to do with anesthesiology, um, something about the meds being contaminated or something. It was just so sad to see, because it wasn't a surgeon's fault. It wasn't, the patient's fault, like they smoked or, they didn't disclose previous medical history or something like that. It was because of the anesthesia that they got. And it was so unfortunate.
The CDC reports 6 people have died exposed to fungal meningitis after visiting clinics in Matamoros, Mexico for cosmetic surgery. Officials have identified and closed the 2 clinics linked to that outbreak. They are Riverside Surgical Center and Clinica K3. Doctors say anyone who underwent any kind of epidural anesthesia there between January 1st and May 13th could be at risk.
You want to ask them how many surgeries they do a day, because this can be very taxing on a surgeon. And you do not want to go to a chop shop where they're operating on 5 to 8 girls a day and it's in and out and fatigue. They get fatigue. They're a human being. This is what can cause errors to happen during a surgery. Like, that's crazy. So my surgeon, they do 1 to 2 surgeries a day. That's it. And they work as a team. It's 2 people working on one person. And I also feel a lot more comfortable and safe with that, just because it's kind of like checks and balances. So if one person doesn't catch something, then I'm hoping the other person catches it. You know what I'm saying? They can work as a team, and that can also help to alleviate the possibility of a fatigue issue. But there shouldn't be a fatigue issue if there are only 1 to 2 people being operated on per day. And I'm assuming that they're saying 1 to 2 because it's going to depend upon what kind of surgeries these 1 to 2 people are getting. I don't know the answer yet, but in fact, I'm going to ask it. And if I get it in time for the editing of this video, I'm going to pop that answer in right here. But now that I think about it, I'm going to ask them if they know if I'm going to be the only surgery for the day. I'm just assuming I am, because I'm getting so much work done on me that I'm thinking it's going to be a long surgery and they're only going to have time for one person. But I'm going to see. I wasn't worried about, if there would be another surgery. 1 to 2 is fine to me. I don't have any issues. Because if you think about it, like if there's a breast surgery, it doesn't take that long. It's pretty straightforward and simple. If they do 1 breast surgery, 1 BBL or whatever, like that's 2 surgeries a day. They're not very like complex things going on. But you surely want to ask to reduce the risk of possible fatigue from the surgeon. Just a safety thing. You want to ask, how do they handle complications? Are they treating them there at this local hospital? Are they sending you somewhere? What is their protocol? And we all want to think that nothing is going to happen to us, but the possibility is there. You are being cut open. There is a possibility for complications. So you want to know, and you even want to know how you could handle those same complications whenever you get back home if you're traveling for surgery. How is that handled? I'd say the most kind of like common issues that pop up is like, what if you need a blood transfusion? That is very, very common. So go ahead and ask, How much does a blood transfusion cost? Because it's not going to be free. And they're not going to let you continue to stay there or release you without paying them their money, because they're not playing games with you. One surgeon that I had a consult with, you had to pay a transfusion like deposit. So you had to pay that to them before they would even operate on you. I guess because it's kind of common that people need, blood transfusions after the surgery. And then you could also possibly have a hernia. I went ahead and asked like how much that would be. I want to have like all my ducks in a row, possibilities for anything, how they're handled. Also, maybe possible necrosis. Do I need to sit in the oxygen hyperbaric chamber? Is there one close? I mean, there's so many things, like I said, that could go wrong and that could, happen. I want to know how those complications will be handled. My surgery is not going to be in a surgery center. It is going to be in a hospital. I feel like so much better about that. You guys just don't know. So they told me, the protocol and everything and how things are going to be handled, and it just kind of put my mind at ease a bit, just a bit. It's still a nerve-wracking process, and it's still like, you think about everything bad that could happen. So I don't want to like dwell on it, but it's best to think about those things and come up with possible solutions, what if type situations. I kind of alluded to this, but find out their death rate. Do they have any deaths? You need to know this. And it happens, okay? It could be because of surgeon's error. It could be because of some issue with the anesthesiologist with anesthesia. It could be after the surgery is over from a pre-existing medical condition. It could be because the person was not honest with their medical history. So if they've had those deaths, can you tell me more about them? I mean, me personally, I don't want to go to a surgeon that's had any, but it's common though. So can you tell me more about it, right? If they can't, and you really, really want to go to them, I would get in those surgery groups and I would find out what happened, who was it. And I think what's most important is how they handled the death. I think that is what's most important to me. Did they like lie about it? Did they cover it up? Did they hide it? What are they doing? Like, seriously, what are they doing? And I know they can't really like give out, personally identifying information in regards to medical records, but did they like send condolences to the fam? Like, what happened? I think it's not necessarily like a death occurring. Well, I know that's like a scary and big thing, but what was the aftermath of that? And like, I think that's what everybody kind of wants to know. My surgeon doesn't have any, so I'm very happy about that. And that was something that was very, very important to me. There's a very popular doctor in Mexico, very popular. And he has some good results. Not gonna lie. He's not board certified, and he has had several deaths. And girls, keep going to him. If you want to know who, ask me in the comments. I'm gonna be messy in them comments. Ask me in the comments. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you all the tea, boo. But the thing about it is you can find this in those surgery groups. You can really find out a lot of tea. Okay. So find out the death rate just to put you kind of at ease and to see how those matters are handled by the surgeon. It pretty much kind of shows their ethics and their moral obligation to their profession. This is a big one. You need to find out how that doctor handles if you are not happy with your results or if you need a revision. So, do they have a policy, a clause in there or something saying like what they do in those instances? A lot of times, a lot of doctors will go and operate on you. They don't charge you any fees, but they will charge you like whatever the cost is for like the anesthesia or whatever if you have to go back under. Some of them will charge you the full thing, they don't care. Some of them will maybe refer you to someone else if they feel like they can't help you. Some of them will run duck and hide, they will take no responsibility. Um, so you need to figure out like what's your next route if you are not happy. Like, and I guess it depends on if you're not happy just because, your butt's not big enough, like that's a you problem, right? You just need to go for a round two. Or if you're not happy because they really messed you up or they left you with like extra skin like dog ears from like a tummy tuck, or you're not happy because I don't know, you had necrosis and you got to get a scar revision. I don't know, so many things can happen when you're not happy with your results, and you need to find out your doctor's policy on that. And you need to figure out what you're going to do if it arises that you're not happy. But I also need to say that sometimes you need to temper your expectations. Everyone is not going to have a flat, 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 flat stomach with washboard abs. Like, you got to look at your before and what you're coming from to how your after is and what you're going to go to. Mm-hmm. You need to look at what your base is, like what you started with. Like, there's only so much that can be done about your body shape because, however, your anatomy is, that's your genetics, that's how you were born. You can change that a bit by, adding fat here, taking fat out here, but we can't like change bone structure. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I see a lot. And this is another reason like I decided to go to Mexico, because they snatch you in and they oof. And a lot of the results that I was seeing like in the United States, there was a little shape. They were kind of straight up and down, they were kind of boxy. Like, I was like, ooh, I don't know about that one. But I feel like I already kind of have the base of like what I find aesthetically pleasing, because I am pear shaped and I am big at the bottom. I have round hips and I have a smaller waist. And I just want those features like accented and to pop. I want the skin gone so that my, real true body can just come on through, because it's been waiting to come through. So, yes, it's so important to figure out what happens if you do need a revision. And finally, the last thing is you need to find out what your surgeon's protocol is for follow up and aftercare. They should be telling you this, like, how you should care for your wounds, and what to do, what not to do, what your diet should look like, what would happen if you do have a complication or issue arise, like who do you need to contact. You should be asking what is their protocol for follow-up and aftercare. How many follow-up visits do you have? Who do you contact if you have complications? And do you get a head nurse's like contact information? Does the care go through your coordinator? Like, do you just pop up? Do you need to call for an appointment? Is it going to be extra costs involved, extra fees? Like, we need to know all this stuff, right? We need to know, because I've saw too many times where someone has issues and they can't get in contact with anybody, or their surgeon brushes them off as kind of like, oh, well, it's really nothing, don't worry about it, it'll go away, or it'll go. And I've seen this on, not just in Mexico, I've seen this a lot in the United States. And you're having an issue and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and then you wind up with an infection or you wind up with necrosis. And then it's just like, if you would have went and got care earlier, then we would have had that taken care of. So you need to figure out what's the protocol. You need to figure out, like, do your surgeons know about wound care? Because I feel like there's some kind of like running theme as to like, how do you not know this? You don't know about wound care. You can't look at something and see that there's an infection there, or they need to go, sit in a hyperbaric chamber, or they need to, go see they need to get a referral to wound care. Like, I don't get it. So aftercare is very, very important. Okay. You need to make sure you're not smoking. You need to make sure you're eating well and properly. You need to make sure you take all the medicine that you've been given. You need to make sure that you take care of yourself and you're not overexerting yourself and you're resting, but you're also getting around, up and moving and walking too. You need to know this. You need to ask these questions. I really hope that these things have been helpful to you. These are things that I've just kind of taken notes of, that I've kind of compiled from groups and feedback from people and things like that. And I hope that you can get the answers that you want. You can always ask below, ask any questions that you want below about anything. I am not a healthcare professional. I cannot say that the information that I have is correct, but I can try to for surely help you out. And I am doing this to help out you guys. I am trying to compile a lot of information in one place so that you can access it easily. I am doing this to document where I come from to where I'm going. I'm doing this to be of service to people because I know that it is very hard to get like accurate, correct information, and anecdotal experience. I think people like to see that. So I'm here giving my experience, telling my story, you know, telling the information that I researched and found out. So hopefully I can be of service to you guys and help you out. And this can be good information that you can use with you. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys like this video. I hope you found it helpful. Please make sure you leave any questions you have below, any comments. I don't know what to say, y'all. By the time y'all see this, I will be in Mexico. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe it. It is here. It will be here. It is here, literally. Oh my God. Less than a week. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Make sure that you continue to spread kindness to the world full of hate. I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.